Please join me in welcoming Ms. Dawn Teo, Chairperson of the WSH Council Hospitality and Entertainment Industries Committee, for her welcome remarks. Ms. Teo, please.
Mr. Abu Bakar Mohammed Noor, Chairman of the Workplace Safety and Health Council, fellow members of the WSH Council, members of the WSH Council Hospitality and Entertainment Industries Committee, industry colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you, and thank you for joining us at today's Vision Zero Forum for the Hospitality and Entertainment Industries. Well, since our borders have opened last year, we have witnessed a robust recovery. The Singapore Tourism Board expects international visitor arrivals for this year to be around 12 to 14 million, with a full recovery to pre-pandemic levels by 2024. Without doubt, this is wonderful news for our industry. However, as we ramp up our business operations, it is vital that we take steps to ensure the safety, health, and well-being of our workers, especially given the tight manpower situation that we're currently in. Today's event marks a significant milestone as we kick off the Vision Zero movement for the hospitality and entertainment industries. Why Vision Zero? Because we believe that all injuries and ill health at work can be prevented, and zero harm is possible. I'm pleased to share that 66 industry companies have pledged their support towards Vision Zero, endeavoring to implement good WSH practices like reporting saves lives. This champions the internal reporting of unsafe conditions to prevent injuries for others. To obtain BizSafe accreditation, to enhance WSH standards across the organizations, and to share WSH knowledge with their business partners and contractors. A very big thank you to all of you for the strong show of support towards preventing workplace injuries and illnesses. And I hope that many more companies will follow in your footsteps. Later today, our expert panelists will dive into actionable strategies to make Vision Zero a reality, including how to empower workers to speak up without fear, how to foster a culture of WSH training. I'm very grateful to our panelists, Heiko, Bruno, Victor, for sharing their invaluable insights, which will guide us on our collective Vision Zero journey. This forum today is also an opportunity for us to share the work of our H&EI committee. We have partnered with the Nanyang Technological University Transport Research Center to evaluate safety in load-carrying bicycles and power-assisted bicycles for delivery riders in Singapore. With these recommendations, we will be engaging delivery partners to implement ways to improve safety for our delivery riders on our roads. Next, our work group on WSH technology and design is exploring new solutions, some of which you've seen outside today, such as CCTVs with artificial intelligence to help to detect hazards and prevent slips, trips, and falls. We have also produced 2 short videos titled Take Time to Take Care. These are designed to equip our colleagues in kitchens and housekeeping with practical WSH tips. You will catch these brand new videos during today's forum, and we hope that you can share them with your associates via the WSH Council's social media channels. And in closing, I would like to emphasize that taking care of our workers is not just a responsibility. It is the right thing to do. So let's act on our Vision Zero pledge and make the safety and health of our workers a top priority at our workplaces. And with that, I wish you a fruitful forum ahead. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we put your hands together again to welcome Mr. Abu Bakar Muhammad Noor, Chairman of the Workplace Safety and Health Council, for his opening address.
Don, distinguished speakers and guests, and of course our brothers from the union, Brother Ong, also thank you for being here. I just want to wish all of you a very good morning and thank you for joining us at this session. In fact, I'm glad to see that many of us are here. As all of us are aware, in fact, the economy is opening up, and you can see people are moving. Last month, a month ago, you can see when the F1 are here. I'm sure many of you are very, very busy, and it's something that we welcome, and it's something that we are, in fact, look forward to. Having said that, as what Don has said, it's equally important that we are also focused on the workplace safety and health. If you look at some of the effort that the people are doing on the safety and health, it's actually very important, very significant, and it's indeed what individual can play towards the workplace safety and health. I wanted to also thank Don and also all of you from this industry. I was looking at the statistics for the industry. It was a very sad thing that last year we lost 2 lives from the hospitality and entertainment industry. Of course, each life is one too many. And I would just want to say that the team has worked very, very hard. So it's an ongoing effort. It's something that we need to continue. I was looking at the major accident from the industry. And I was very heartened to see that the numbers have dropped from the major accidents. And if you look at the number of man-hours contributed by the industry, and you can see, even though the numbers actually enhanced, increased in terms of the man-hours per worker, but the number of major accidents dropped. And I'm glad to look at this number. And I'm sure it's just not only a number, because behind every number there's a person. And behind every person there's a family, there's a hope, there's a life that we need to do. So, in fact, it's heartening to see that the numbers of major accidents drop. Having said that, I was looking at the numbers of minor injuries. So in terms of the minor injuries from the industry, there is a upward trend. If you compare hospitality and entertainment industry, you compare the industry with those of the high risk, for example, like from construction and the manufacturing. In fact, the hospitality and the entertainment industry fall within the same bar as the other top 3 industries. So while we take heart that we are able to prevent major accidents, but there are certain minor incidents that we need to look at. So, but then again, these are numbers, and numbers are equally important for us. That actually give us certain sense what we are trying to do. I asked the Secretary to give me, in terms of what are the two major challenges for the industry, the cluster itself. Two common causes of injuries actually stand out. One, exposure to extreme temperatures. That's one. The second one, slip, trip and fall. So these are the two incidents, whether you're talking about minor and major, that actually impacted the industry. I'm sure, when you talk about exposure to extreme temperature, some of the hot, because we are dealing with cooking and so on and so forth. Naturally, these are some of the exposure that we have. Last year, I was looking at one of the major factors that happened. A chef, I saw in last year, accidentally kicked over a bucket, a bit of hot soup, and in fact the bucket was along his path. He kicked it, and the soup spilled onto his right foot, and immediately he had 48 days hospitalization leave. So you look at the incident, it's actually quite simple, straightforward. So, at the end of the day, it also boils down to the personal safety that we're trying to do. And I'm glad that Dawn and the team recognize this and they are putting some effort. I look at other cases whereby on the slip, trip and fall, there was a kitchen, there was no anti-slip mat. One of the staff was injured, broke his tailbone and he got fractured, and in fact it caused him to be hospitalized for 21 days. So these are some of the things I just want to put certain perspective, because if you look at the numbers itself, I think these are very key incidents that all of us can take and reflect and look at it. And of course, on the Workplace Safety and Health Council, we actually put in a few things. If I can suggest, and I'm sure Dawn had actually, together with the team, actually pushed for it. There are two things I thought is important that all of us think on. At a national level, there are two things that we have pushed. One, we actually pushed the approved code of practice for the directors and the boards to go through. And I hope the industry can support me. What in short we call it a call. Because at the end of the day, it's the voices from the top. And I'm sure many of us here, we are by itself ambassadors. So at the council level, we are pushing for a lot of the approved code of practice for the board. Please look through. There are processes being done. It's a very simple thing, so that all of us at the top, we are aligned. The second thing that we are pushing very, very hard is, as what Don had said, the Be Safe. Be Safe is actually capability building program. Be Safe. I was looking at the numbers. I asked the team to give me the numbers of Be Safe for the industry. I'm sure many of us can do better, and I hope all of us can help me to support, on the Be Safe level. If you look at the numbers itself, last year, 10% of the hotels in Singapore or 13% of the MICE are on Be Safe. So I'm sure 10% and 13% more can be done for whatever reason. Maybe the industry didn't find the Be Safe applicable now. But please help me to promote this, because the Be Safe is a capability program that we ourselves can test where are we in terms of safety. So these are the two things I thought it's important that the industry take note of, the core, we support, because at the board level, management level, director level, we must have certain competency on the safety so that we are able to save life. And the other one is talking about the pre-save. Lastly, if I can just share, this year at the national level, we push for a program reporting safe life. Why we decided to choose reporting safe life? We look at the last year, all the accident that happened. It's very important that when it comes to safety, everyone has a role to play. And it starts with reporting of unsafe, reporting of safe incident. Actually, it's not about the reporting. What we are trying to push is we are trying to push the atmosphere of trust. If today you and me we are unable to trust, it's very difficult for us to push for safety. And that is why at national level, if you just look at it, why are we just pushing a very simple, basically reporting safe life? It's not about the reporting, it's the trust between the management, between the employee, between the staff, between the customer, and the union side. How we build this trust. Because once we have this trust, then there's a hope for us to improve safety. So on this note, I just want to thank John and the team for helping us on this, and of course all our distinguished speakers, Victor, for doing this. And I urge all of us to proactively support the safety movement on this. So on this note, I look forward to witness the key industry representative who pledge for the Vision Zero. It's not zero vision, Vision Zero. So many people forget Vision Zero is different from zero vision. Zero vision means we don't have vision at all. So on this note, thank you very much, and I'm sure each and every one of you will play a very major part on safety. Because let me tell you, safety is at its strongest if each and every one of us take personal and collective responsibility on it. And I'm sure the hospitality and the entertainment industry have done that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bakar. Zero launch. As shared by Mr. Abu Bakar in his opening address, it is crucial for businesses to safeguard our workers' safety and health. Therefore, today marks an important milestone. Partners from the hospitality and entertainment industry have gathered to demonstrate their commitment to preventing injuries and ill health through their Vision Zero pledge. May I invite Ms. Dawn Teo back on stage to join Mr. Abu Bakar. 8 associations and unions are with us today to collectively pledge the Vision Zero. May I invite these representatives to come on stage as I read their names out. They are Mr. Asman bin Osman, President of Attractions, Resorts and Entertainment Union. Mr. Muhammad Yusuf bin Adnan, Vice President of Food, Drinks and Allied Workers Union. Mr. Cheong, President of International Food and Beverage Association. Mr. Wei Chan, Honorary Secretary of Restaurant Association of Singapore. Mr. Richard Arlen, President of Singapore Association of Convention and Exhibition Organizers and Suppliers. Chef KK, Vice President of Singapore Chefs Association. Mr. Kenneth Lee, President of Singapore Hotel Association. Last but not least, Mr. Nathan Thiagarajan, President of Singapore Nightlife Business Association. So this is what we will do. May we have everyone on stage on the count of 3. Place your right hand on the handprints you see in front of you and hold it there. Let's do it together on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. We would like to capture this moment to have everyone smile for the camera.
Vision 0. Everybody show Vision 0.
Vision 0 sign.
1, 2, 3. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thumbs up. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abu Bakar. Ms. Cheong, associations and union representatives, please make your way back to the seat. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, Vision 0 for the hospitality and entertainment industries is officially launched. And for today's launch, we have produced 2 short videos, like we still mentioned, in collaboration with Sentosa Development Corporation and Sofitel Singapore Sentosa. These videos focus on common WSH risks associated with hospitality work and food services. You will find tips on how to keep your workers safe in the kitchen and during housekeeping tasks. Without further ado, let's jump into the first video on housekeeping.
Ensure walkways are free from cords, equipment, or other obstructions to minimize the risk of tripping and falling. Wear comfortable non-slip shoes to improve floor grip and reduce slips and trips. After mopping the floor or when it is wet, place caution signs to warn and keep others away. Wear appropriate personal protective equipment, such as chemical-resistant gloves and safety goggles when handling chemicals. Carefully read and follow the instructions provided on the cleaning product labels to ensure safe and correct use. Place cleaning chemicals back to their designated spots. Maintain your back straight as much as possible and avoid excessive bending or twisting of the torso to minimize body strain. Use ergonomic tools and equipment such as lightweight vacuums or adjustable cleaning tools to reduce body strain for better work comfort. Use trolleys or seek help from a co-worker when lifting or transporting heavy objects. Take short breaks to do simple stretches and relax your muscles to prevent overexertion.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Vision 0 Forum. Before we resume the program, let's have a look at the second video on kitchen safety.
Make sure spills are cleaned up promptly and wet floors are marked with cautionary signs. Wear non-slip shoes to provide better grip, especially on wet and oily surfaces. Do not rush. Take small, steady steps when carrying hot or heavy objects. Make sure the cutting board is secure and doesn't slip when you are using it. Hold the knife firmly and keep your fingers away from the blade. Keep knives away when not in use. Return them back to their storage racks or knife boards. Whenever you handle hot pans, pots or baking trays, wear heat-resistant oven mitts. Keep pot handles turned towards the countertop to prevent spills and accidents. Open lids and containers away from you to avoid steam burns. And remember to stir hot liquids gently to prevent splashes. Stay alert of the surroundings when moving around with hot liquids and sound audibly when approaching other workers in close vicinity.
And so we've just watched 2 videos on housekeeping and kitchen safety. We hope that everyone here will share these videos to remind your workers on the common WSH risks. These videos are available on the WSH Council's social media channels. Earlier on, we have witnessed key industry stakeholders pledging for Vision Zero. As Ms. Teo mentioned, close to 70 organizations from the sector have already done the same. If anyone in this hall knows that your company isn't on Vision Zero yet, we encourage you to join in the movement with the QR code on the screen. Vision Zero commitment is but the first step. More importantly, we'll be walking the talk. And you may be wondering how to go about doing this. Well, in the second part of today's program, let's hear from our panel of speakers their take on making Vision Zero happen. This panel will be led and moderated by Mr. Chan Yu Guang, Senior Consultant of WSH Council, and joining him are 3 distinguished speakers. Mr. Cheong Hai-po, President of International Food and Beverage Association, Mr. Bruno Crystal, Area GM of IHG Singapore and GM of Crown Plaza Changi Airport, and Dr. Victor Sia, Acting Director for Center of Excellence for Behavioral Insights at Work, Singapore University of Social Sciences. May I invite Mr. Chan and the speakers to take your seats on stage, please. Before I hand the time over to Mr. Chan, may I remind everyone in the hall that you can post your questions for our panelists through the Pigeonhole Live platform by scanning this QR code on the screen. And do indicate whom your question is intended for, and we will address as many questions as time allows. Mr. Chan, please.
Thank you, Perry. Good to see many of you still here, and I think this is a very important occasion, Vision Zero for the hospitality and entertainment industry, and I'm very happy to see so many companies have pledged their support for Vision Zero. Okay, we have done the pledge, and I think now the part is, it's easy for me because it's for the other 3 to speak. Let me start with our first speaker, Mr. Cheong Hai-po. He is the president of the International Food and Beverage Association. Currently, he is the general manager of Google Park Hotel. He is an entrepreneur and innovative executive leader with 30 years of working experience in the hospitality, food and beverage industries. He has held many top management positions in the hospitality industry, both in Singapore and overseas, and is recognized for cultivating top-performing teams through guidance and training, delivering enhanced employee engagement and retention, and a robust internal talent pipeline. He'll be sharing with us on building a culture of safety for the F&B industry. So let's please welcome Mr. Cheong, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, wonderful good morning. How are you? Are you safe? Okay, today on behalf of Food and Beverage Management Association and the president, who is Kyung Wah, unfortunately he is not able to make it here. So on behalf of Kyung Wah, I'd like to say a wonderful good morning to all of you. So what can we build a strong WSH culture? A strong workplace is very essential because we need to look at the various roles in order for us to be able to say, how can you really input a strong culture? It's not just a theory, it's not just on paper. It's something that we need to recognize from all the way from the top management and down all the way to the individuals. So, from the role of management, the key will be still the leadership commitment. But the leadership commitment for me is to really put this exercise as a core value and one of the key objectives in the hotels or in the F&B portions. Because without putting as a core value, honestly, this will become very secondary. And that core value should be put in as part of the KPI and in order for everybody to take it very seriously. That's what we meant from the leadership commitment. And that will then set a clear policies and procedures for us to really looking at it to say, how can we put it very simplified, easy for our colleagues at the rank and file to look at it as well. And of course, looking at it as well is constantly to collect lots of data and trend to see each individual hotel at what you are having and share it out. Nothing to hide, because right, the more you are transparent, the more you are able to analyze correctly and properly. As I mentioned, it's not a paper exercise, it's not a just theory exercise. That commitment is one of the fundamental key critical roles. And safety accountability is, we always want to ensure, right, that we all are responsible, but it takes two hands to clap. So it's from us, it's also from the individual. From us, sometimes we very kepo, right? You know kepo, right? We say, hey, why you do this way, very dangerous. Then somebody will say, this is none of the business. But we shouldn't compromise, because it's for the sake of safety. And for once, we all need to voice out, need to alert, and need to highlight out for everybody to keep the awareness put up to everybody. And that's how we are going to put safety culture and promote the safety culture. And to promote safety culture is not just talk or not just present to the team every day. One of the things is we need to look at our workforce, right? The workforce in general is, what are the best media where they go in? Facebook perhaps. And we may even introduce Facebook as a communication tool among colleagues, team members. Because why? They read Facebook. What is happening in the hotels no longer about just in the way that we run in group restaurants or even in hotels. It's no longer is about having a monthly staff meetings. It's literally how can we stay communicating strongly with every team members, and Facebook is one of them. And once you can put this on Facebook, whether you put on videos or you put a very simple example sharing, and you'll find that they were able to read it and capture strongly in the mindset. The key of building culture is really it takes time. And it takes time to really to say, how can you instill inside the mindset to be self-aware and aware of others and to help others and walk the talk. So the role of management is essential and necessary. Next is the role of supervisors and the team, employee involvement. We encourage a lot of safety, we should encourage, but a lot of safety, if you notice, is also happen to be careless. And carelessness is one of the key things because we take for granted, we all should know. But is it true that we all should know? And that is because we take for granted. Example, the type of shoe that you wear. Nowadays, got all design shoes, right? You may wear oversized shoes. You may wear too sharp pointed shoes, or you may trick yourself and you fell. The best one is always, if you see everybody walking in the street, and this is a communicator, right? And you just keep looking at this without looking where you are walking. And we have people who walk, assume, I close my eyes, I know there's a staircase, I know how to walk down. But when you start doing this, you are diverting your attention. Look at people cross the road who do the food, right? So this is also a culprit as well. So how to educate them? How to educate them? And that's something that because we all take for granted. cutting the food we see in the videos, correct? Yes, we can prevent, we can put certain time and then say, okay, this is how we cut. But they also take for granted. I'm well trained. I cut, and I cut and I talk. And I cut and give instructions. So that is also doesn't help as well. So employee involvement, and that's where we link back to the training and educations, and to ensure regularly monitored. We need to point out, but because in life, we always take things for granted, right? You assume that you know, but when you fall down, then you start saying, how come? You trip, then you say, how come? But why ask this question rather than we are proactively to address it, not to assume that everybody is aware. Agree? We have a lot of director of security here, right? Right? Can you raise your hand? Who are from the hotels? Director securities? No. Well, nobody there to announce that. Hey, I know all of you now. Don't be passive. As I said, transparent. Be transparent. The first few years can be challenging and difficult, but once you are transparent, you get the right data, address the right root cause, you'll find that that will help, and document it and record it, and then get a continuous improvement. There will never be the best. There can be always better. I always believe that. Because it's always a better tomorrow. Besides that, we need to mitigate risks. We do a lot of control over the years in restaurant, in the development of new equipments, from pastry equipment to the grinding machines, to the washing machines, and so on and so forth. There come a lot of protective, enhancement. And that already done, but that is only equipment. But the person who handles the equipment is the one that we need to ensure. And again, don't take for granted. Yeah. So safety equipment and PPE, appropriate personal protections, as what you see just now, wear the right goggles and so on and so forth, chemical usage, touch. But again, I have to say this, if you walk and talk and you walk around, you see, people will assume that this is a chemical to clean this, but people don't really read the instructions on what is chemical, or being trained and what is this chemical for. They only know green color is for me to disinfect. Orange color is for me just to clean. But is that the knowledge that we want to impart? For long term, not really. We only take, again, it go back to fundamental. Continue trainings and continue to build that alert. That alert, as I said, even in the Facebook, very easily. When in the Facebook, you just share today one topics, Monday to a Friday, every day one topics. They will read it, they'll say, oh, that's good. You find that 30 days, they will learn 30 days, 30 items of topics a day. So that is something that I feel that we need to do so. Emergency preparedness, I think it is, every hotel have it, every restaurant have it. The only question is, are we fully trained and mature about it? Because emergency only happens one time at some time, correct? So we assume we know, but do we assume that we conduct regular trial to make sure that we're familiar with it? Because otherwise, we only need one time. That will cause a lot of issues. I give you an example is the bomb blast many years back in Jakarta, in one of the hotels. Is that can be avoided? The car is only at the barrels of the car park, but we are affected within the 5 kilometers, including the building. One of my friends was badly hurt over there. He was sitting just in a hotel's cafe having breakfast. But what I'm saying is that emergency preparedness is required for us to stay alert. Yeah. So zero tolerance for retaliations. And when I mention retaliation is because a lot of people, as I say, hey, you don't be so capable now, it's not your job, not your task, so don't tell people what to do correctly. I say, honestly, don't compromise. in any things in life, we don't compromise standards, whether from service to safety to delivering of a product, don't compromise. You're helping your friends. You bothered about it, that's why you highlight. You don't bother about it, you keep quiet, but you cause danger to the person. I can assure you, if a waiter who carry a glass on a round tray and she sleep, and if she sleep, the glass drop, one drop first, not she, the glass drop first before he or she drop. If the glass are broken on the ground and she fall directly onto the ground, it may take away his or her life. Correct? So that is important. We are here to ensure safety for life, but not just safety for injuries. And that is important. Today, in the last time, I still remember in F&B, we train by putting bricks in the over tray, right? And you have to tell like almost you see the tree there, you walk with the brick and go to the tree there and turn back. And you train yourself. Today, you train yourself to take that? No, no more. What do? We probably will say, in the big catering events, instead of carrying with a big tray, we have a tray, and then we have actually tie up with a back sling, like what you carry, in the brass band, the big drum, or what you carry in the early days in National Stadium, like curry puff, correct? The person carry this. This can be a tray clearing exercise, and when you do big mega example for catering events, this is the clearing trays. It's a mobile trays. If we all support, you take care of the bag, you carry the trays. That's what it is. And interestingly, for administration, in any restaurants or in any hotels, you have writing desk. Your neck is always an issue. Nowadays, the spa business is so good, it's neck and hips massage. And I almost wanted to invest one. Because why? Because we always look at computer. That's one. We always look at our handphone. We always look at the iPad. And nowadays, everybody is using this to do order taking as well. Correct? So, what I've seen is, one of the very good practice that in Australia, when I was there, the writing desk is actually up and down writing desk. You can put down, sit. After a while, you push it up, you stand up. And you literally have eyes level to your laptop or your computers. So today, equipment have changed, but the question is, do we use it? Do we do it? Because you can sit, you can also stand and do your work. Because the desks are designed in such a way that it actually can go down and can go up. So that's health as well. So communication, as I mentioned earlier on, it is all about looking into the language going through the media, social media. It can be used for internal. It's very powerful. It's very powerful. I can assure you it is. So not even WhatsApp communication. It's literally media to reach out to everybody. And short videos play a part. Today, we have shown 2 short videos play a part. There should be more videos to play a few of the different scenarios. We can even have videos. Look at the ministries today, right? From our Ministry of Health, he was on videos for so many of the events to talk about how to take care of your health, how to walk, how to take on stress. Why they do that? Because it's one of the most powerful communicators in today's industries. So, looking at this, at the end of the day, as I said, to summarize the commitment is very essential, and that commitment has to come with responsibilities and accountabilities. And not only with the commitment is we want to really to move the vision zero as set out by our chair ladies here, Ms. Dawn, and also support by Beverage Chairperson. And is it possible? We may laugh at it, zero, only vision. But if you don't have this vision, how do you know that you cannot achieve? And what we want to achieve ultimately is really go for reduce the carelessness first. And once you have educate and calculate this in the mindset of the people, you'll find that you're helping them at home as well, and as an individual, and not only at work. All right, so with this, I just want to say thank you very much. And on behalf of F&B Association in Singapore, and I'm running the International F&B Association globally. In general, have 10 countries, and we have the very fortunate to learn from these 10 countries, including countries from Europe, countries from Asia, countries from China. So, morning bring hopes, afternoon bring faith, the night bring love, and the night will bring a good rest to all of you. Have a wonderful week ahead, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you, Hypo, for very good sharing. I think with 30 years of working experience, you have a lot of interesting practical tips for us to work safely and all that. I think one key point that I take away from this sharing is that for Vision Zero to be really happening, it requires the commitment of the top management
to set as a core value.
To set as a core value. I think that's very important.
You can, honestly, you can get a recognition from management to say, yeah, this is important, but it never been as a core value. You will never move in one way or another.
Another round for passionate, Okay, our second speaker is Mr. Bruno Cristo. He is the Area General Manager from IHG Singapore. He is also the General Manager of Crowne Plaza, Changi Airport. I still remember this hotel because that is the first hotel that was built, the extension of the hotel was built on Lego block concept. It means every room was stacked onto each other to build. And today he told me it's still standing and it's working very well. So fear not, if you're having a new residential condo or residential unit built on Lego block, don't worry, you'll still remain as a block. Okay, back to Bruno. He's an accomplished hotel veteran and has 30 years of international experience. He began his career as a chef, so if you want to eat good food, go to him. And then moved on to launch successful bars, restaurants, and hotels. Mr. Bruno has a passion for diverse cultures and connecting with people. And what he will be sharing us this morning is how to inculcate a pervasive training culture which includes WSH training. Crystal, please.
Hello everyone again. Let's try to keep this passion that Hypo did before. I think some of you are not really familiar with Inculcate or Pervasive type of wording, like I was a bit as well. Inculcate is basically to instill or disseminate all around yourself. Pervasive is basically something more where you want to spread to all areas, all departments. So it's basically the training culture, as Hypo did the culture, but the training, where do you start, how you do it, to the frontliners, obviously, back of house, and that's what I want to cover today on this. We have to start with a vision. Obviously, we had a Vision Zero. I think we elaborated quite a lot the last 15-20 minutes. But at the hotel, we had to do our own vision, if I can say, for the team as well to understand. So the main point it was to reduce accidents. Zero, of course, it doesn't go overnight. As an example, one of my hotels had 33 accidents last year at the moment, year to date, and the Lego is still standing. The year to date, we're about 15, so we cut by half. How did we do it? Well, obviously, a lot of you are working hard. I have some members of my team here who've been very helpful in the security department, or safety as well. But it's a full engagement on training on the ground. So it's not just talk, blah, blah. As you mentioned before, I was a chef. I went through a chef. You cannot see my scars, but I had a lot of burns and scars. I slipped as well. I'm a big guy. I fell off a few times, trust me, like some of you, if you're a chef, on the floor and you're not feeling well, so you have to stay fit. But all these things happen as well. So I want to make sure that I learn my lesson. If I cut myself, obviously, and I want to pass on to the team. Because obviously there's nothing worse than having unproductive team. You know, and as we spoke before, some MC or 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, or 2 weeks, it's not bearable. Especially these top days after COVID, where we have problems to find staff as well. So the vision is very important just to see basically forward-thinking to try to have 0 injuries. The training culture starts from the top. I'm a GM of the hotel, but I oversee as well other hotels where I have a few GMs. I have about 12 or 13 GMs, and we share with another HGM as well in Singapore, because IAG has a lot of properties from budget type, mainstream, to a very big property as well, heritage, luxury, lifestyle, and we just opened a few hotels as well recently. So we're still growing as well, so we need to keep that really ongoing. So it has to come from the GM or the hotel manager, if you're lucky to have an HM or director of rooms, whatever level. But they or he or she has to do as well the BIS level, level 1. Level 1 is mostly on the legal requirements. I have wonderful owners at Cheong Airport who are really supportive, and they've been pushing me, driving me. They created a committee as well, that's the ownership, to the management company, which IAG is a management company, to manage the hotel on behalf of the owner. So if I have the support and trust on them, again, they are the head of my, my owner's lands, I use it as I call it. It's very important to have all these legal requirements and understand better what happened. Like all of us, we had an incident. I was unfortunately part of a big fire in London in my early days when I was only a supervisor of a restaurant. And I saw some of the members of my team really injured, so I don't want to see that again. So straight away I think to myself, all my life in hotels, I will be very, very careful. And we try to teach and help people, because when I saw the 2 guys who were in very deep, very, very strong, injured, it really traumatized me for a while. And after when I get up in the management, I felt it's my duty of care to do that. So level 1, level 2 is obviously security team, or the room attendant leaders, or other department as well. And level 2 is usually risk assessment. How to do that? You have a problem, how do you fix it? What do you do after? CERT team, as you know, Company Emergency Response Team, or CMT, some of you call it in different language, but they have to be trained as well. So train is what, not just theoretical, it has to be practical. Practical is very important. I think Hypo mentioned that as well. It's not just words, we really have to do role play or other things on the floor. The yearly WSH training refresher, it's good to have a lot of theoretical, as I said, but you need to refresh. All of us are very, very busy people, from the floor, at home, or this or that, or owners, or bosses, whatever. Sometimes you forget what you learn in safety. I have to admit it, you shouldn't, but it's at home. I have 3 kids as well. I teach them security, safety. I always tell them, look at the fire exit. You go to a nightclub in Spain or somewhere, it's very dark. You've never been to that place. 2 girls. I said to them, do you know how to get out of that place in case there's a problem? Especially if you have a few drinks, might be a bit hard. So anyway, she said, why are you saying that then? Why? And I knew I've been telling them as well. So we start at home and as well in your workplace. It's very important. I think it's good to balance as well. So refresher really helps this. After, of course, you can use external training staff working at heights. It's not everybody a cup of tea to go on a cherry picker and change the bulb on this type of function space, but as well scissor lifts. So you use external training, but they have to be as well professional one. Obviously have the right standard for safety. So all these things on training, it's one by one, has to start from the top to the bottom. Then after you have obviously these beautiful objectives, but what you do, of course, as we say, we do a few things on the safety awareness, hazard identification. I think these days, you saw outside, we have some wonderful robots telling you, watch out, don't go backward, take care, or watch your space. At the airport, as you know, in Changi, we have quite a lot of robots in Changi Airport for different things, cleaning or repair, fixing, CCTV. I'm doing the same in our hotels as well. So that's still part of the hazard identification. They can tell you as well what's happening in your surrounding. Skill development and standardization, very important as well, just to make sure everybody talks the same language. Fostering a safety first culture. I think Hypo mentioned a lot on things there, so I don't want to elaborate. But the most important is really to drive it, the excellence, and achieve our goal of Vision Zero. Now, just a few examples of what we do at Crown Plaza. You can see this is a building. Anyway, the building on the right, in between the control tower and the main hotel, there is a square. That's a Lego, as you mentioned before. As a matter of fact, containers. There's 2 wings, so we have 600 rooms altogether, and it's joined by a tunnel. But this hotel, Crown Plaza, we are really training the staff on the first day. I think it's about 15-20 minutes from the security manager or his team to do that, so just to show you the importance of that. Secondly, it's a yearly refresher. Obviously, we had to create a WSH committee, and we meet every month. In fact, a few days ago was a meeting. It's about 17 or 18 of us. Not just management, we take as well some people from the ground, just to make sure we know what we're talking about, and they can tell us. We do as well weekly safety audits. This is as well like not auditors, but you know, MON recently put some very good practice. If you have more than 30 incidents, I think, for 2 years, you have to have an independent auditor coming to your hotel and helping yourself. First, my team say, oh my gosh, you know, MON is coming to the hotel, we're in trouble. Hopefully nobody from MON here. But it's important, I say, guys, this is to help you, don't panic, it's to help you. Know what you're doing when you need more help and support from experts. So that's what they came, and they found 5 or 6 gaps that we had. They did a gap analysis. So that was very helpful for us. We do mini drills, same thing. Recently, there's a lot of things happening around the world, so we could do mini drills around, you know, what happens is there's a crazy terrorist or whatever in the lobby. What do we do? This is more safety than obviously work, but still, what do we do? So we had practice, and 4 years ago we did the first training in Singapore. I pushed that very hardly because I live in crazy countries. In Philippines, where you have you know, a security team of 200, all have arms, guns, bats, baseball bats, whatever, just in case. And I learned that, and when I arrived in Singapore, my team took me for a bit of a crazy gentleman, thinking, we don't need that. Singapore is bulletproof. I said, sure. But you know, I work in other countries as well, France, Italy, or Germany, or Australia. Things can happen anywhere, unfortunately. So be prepared. So we were very lucky with the CBF. We had a special ops as well, who came to help us and say, if there's a terrorist in your lobby, what do you do? Well, we have a lockdown, we have all these things. So we had a training for about 3 days on that, and the special ops came as well to do a real training on the ground, how to, obviously not me or my team, to stop that terrorist, but it was very, very interesting, and it went on TV as well. So it was a very good spread, but this is a big drill. But we do otherwise some mini drills. 10 minutes training, takes, as you know, not long. Especially we saw some great videos at Sofitel just before. Very simple, very basic, but it still happened. Happened in our hotel 2 weeks ago. One of the room attendants slipped and fell, and it was the wrong shoes. So, you know, these things are basically important, even though we check the shoes every day. We check yours. Anyway, after we have the safety posters, that's pretty obvious. But again, what you do with safety posters, it can be more digital now as well, you know, moving. Because obviously, if it's on the wall, the staff walk past and don't really see it. So try to be creative on that. Third-party contractors, very important as well. We have, as I said, expertise. We're not in hotels. I'm a chef, but I was a chef, but I was not expert in safety, even though I got injured, but I wanted to prevent. But it's important to have experts who are really going to give you some great tips. I'll just give you a quick scenario hit by an object, or an example. The staff in the pantry from room attendant was pushing a trolley, and he just got hurt on his hand. You can see it's a small injury, not bad, but there were obviously some MC involved in that. What did we do? First aid, usual thing, medical examination. But we went to check on site what it was. You can see the wall here in the pantry. That's not in a Lego building. This is in a main building, the older building, which is only 15 years, not that old. But we look at a few things. There were no guards. They were basically pushing the trolley in a very small space, confined space, and he basically got his hand quite hurt there. So we just put after a guard, and it was only $10, you know, just to do that, and we had about 15, 20 pantries, so we just put that everywhere. It's not because of this guy, Peter or James, whatever his name, it's because of the type of the rushing, the pushing trolley. As you know, housekeeping is a very tough job. They're tired, they've done 15 rooms or 16 rooms, like some hotels, or more, and they come back, they put the trolley, and you know, they don't think. As we said before, they don't even look, they're on their phone sometimes. So we go back to the place where it happened, basically investigation. So that's very important as well when we do take some actions. Smoke quick scenario 2, same thing, slip, trip and fall. This was a chef who fell off in the chiller room. It was pretty bad back injury. He was a pretty big guy as well, but he really hurt himself. And the first aid was again administered, went on a wheelchair, and he had a few MCs. But we realized it was the shoes. So the shoes was the wrong thing. He didn't have runners or Nike or Puma or whatever, but he had the wrong shoes. And you know, chefs sometimes, sorry, my feet are big, or I have problem, I wear this or that. It cannot happen. They have to wear proper shoes. This is the responsibility, as I said before, of the manager or the executive chef who should check the shoes. Like we do the waiters in banquet, check the nails, they look, you know, they have the right jacket or other things. It's the same thing for the shoes. And we learned that we were not very strong on that, and it was the wrong sole. This one. You can see the one who are permitted or not, and very slippery. So that was a lot of problem on this thing, but we fixed it, and we haven't had so far incident on this side. Now we have some more good practice. Near miss, as you know, thank you to the WSH as well, been putting a lot of great initiatives. And the near miss with the QR code you can see on the bottom right there. So far, I think last month there was 0 reports, which is a good sign. You know, security managers there. But it's something that I want to make sure that, you know, they start very quickly. If they see something, like there could be a sharp object here or something, they will just take a QR code, say the location. It takes only 25 seconds and it protects lives. And that's really important. So we've been pushing the awareness on that, and it's been quite helpful. So it's a great initiative, and well done on that. There's few other modes, of course, but this, the near miss, is always as well quite nice, because it's like prevention is better than cure, as we all know. And I think that's basically it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bruno. I think it's very important that the training incorporate the WSH in it, and I'm very heightened to see that in Crown Plaza, you have the top management being involved in training and all that, and just to do some marketing for WSH Council. We have our top executive workshop for program, which is similar to BSAFE level 1, which talk about the ACOP for chief executive and board of directors. The course is already out. Any of you here who is interested, log on to the WSH Council website, and then you go under resources, you'll find the course, and then sign up for this half-day course. And I guarantee you, you'll be enlightened as to what you need to do and how it can be done simply. It's not a challenging task, but you just need commitment and one morning of your session to do it. And I think it is mandatory for certain sector. So, but for hospitality and food, I think you don't need to say it's mandated to attend. I'm quite sure you're all enlightened and passionate about safety for your employees. So I strongly encourage all of you to sign up for this course. I like the last slide that Bruno shared about near miss reported. Let me see. It says that a near miss reported today is an accident that does not happen tomorrow. I think that's a very powerful quote to encourage everyone at the workplace to speak up to report any near miss that he or she sees. And this brings us to our next speaker, Dr. Victor Sia, about speaking up. Now, he is not encouraging us to shout and scream in the street and all that, but you know that this year focus of our national WSH campaign is reporting saves lives. So we want to encourage everyone to work to report when they come across any unsafe condition or practice. And we know that this will help to make your workplace safer. But how do we get people to speak up? And I think Dr. Victor Sia will now enlighten us on how to do it. Victor, please.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Abu Bakar, Mr. Teo, VIPs, ladies and gentlemen. So I'd like to start with maybe something a little ironic, which is that speaking up is a risky behavior.
right? So in order to reduce risk, we actually want our employees, our workers to take the risk, right? To speak up. Okay, so speaking up is actually a risky behavior. So from research, when we say speaking up, we're really talking about this thing called safety voice. I don't think the pointer is showing. It's fine. So safety voice is a combination of two things: employee voice and citizenship behaviors. Both very great things for your organization. Right? So the first thing, employee voice, is when workers try to change situations rather than leave. Okay, so that's very important for us. Citizenship behaviors is when your workers start to think of themselves as part of your organization. They are citizens. I am from a certain hotel, right? I am a member of this organization. And when you have this too, that's when you start to have this thing called safety voice. So I think I referenced Mr. Abu Bakar earlier, which is saying that, you know, we're not just pushing for reporting, right? We're pushing for what actually it brings, which is really that citizenship behavior and employee voice. And we're really asking for workers to do three things. One is explicit and discretionary communication, right? So this is really putting their neck out, you know, and explicitly saying something. And discretionary, it's voluntary. It's not part of my job description. The second thing I think is it's well intended. They really want to improve an unsafe situation. And the third thing, and this is where the risk, I think, starts to come in, right? They're trying to address someone who's of their same status, or most probably their bosses, right? So how will my boss take it if I told him or her about a safety issue? So some of the questions we ask when we want to study safety voice are things like, you know, I express opinions on safety matters even if others disagree. So that's actually quite asking for a bit. Then even more confrontational, I tell my colleagues who is doing something unsafe to stop. So that's quite a bit, right? And then, you know, there's this idea that you have to report to your boss if my colleagues break any safety rules. So safety voice really is it's a risky behavior. And it is also an extra role behavior. So if there's nothing that you take away from my presentation, I hope you sort of remember that really when we ask people to speak up, we want them to do two things. We want them to take risks, and we also want them to do something beyond their job scope. So the conditions that are required for this to happen are actually quite a bit. Okay. So why focus on safety voice? We talk about how, you know, speaking up saves lives. We also know from research that underreporting is very high. It ranges up to 1 in 5. Only 1 in 5 incidents is reported. And I think the earlier point that, you know, if we report small incidents, big incidents don't occur, right? So I think for safety voice is very important. The next is that if your workers are not speaking out, that's actually an early indicator that your organization isn't healthy. Okay, so it's an early indicator of organizational decline. So you want your workers to be speaking up. That's a sign that your workers are engaged, that they're happy, that they're working hard for you, and it's an organization that will thrive. The third, I think, a bit more maybe relevant for the H&EI, is really safety voices, especially low among newcomers. Right? So if you think about it, and this makes sense, right? When you first join an organization, you don't want to rock the boat. Now, if you think of your organization, there are certain roles that have very high turnover. So structurally, these positions, you're not going to have any safety voice, right? Because of the high turnover. You're never going to get them to be in there enough, to feel powerful enough to speak up. And really the last point, why focus on safety voices? This is not an academic exercise. You know, I'm not an ivory tower academic. I actually am very interested in working in industry. And really there is clear evidence for effectiveness. I'll give you an example, and I do, please pardon me, because it's from a very far place, it's from Kenya. But we talk about saving lives, right? And the headline there says $7,000 to save 1,200 years of life. So what this is in parts of Africa, there are minibuses, right? Really private contractors, you know, taking buses. In Kenya, it's called Matatu, I think, Matatu. And the point is that a lot of these minibuses, they get into a lot of accidents. So what they did to try to increase safety was to paste these stickers there. It says, don't just sit there and drive dangerously, stand up and speak up now, right? So really asking the consumers, right, to speak up. Now, in order to get the bus drivers to be happy with the stickers in their bus, they also gave them a monthly lottery. So if you want to win the monthly lottery, you have to have the stickers, okay? So this whole initiative cost $7,000. They followed more than 2,000 buses over 2 years. And based on the difference in accident claim rates, they extrapolated that this initiative saved 1,200 years of life. Right, that those with the stickers had a significantly lower reporting rate, right, insurance claim rate. So something like this, you know, a simple sticker, right, actually, and very cheap, right, $7,000 saved 1,200 lives. I'm not suggesting we start pasting stickers everywhere, right, you know, but I'm just trying to suggest to you that there is very clear evidence that when done well, safety voice is actually very powerful. This one's from Canadian research. You can see it's about hotels. So Maggie, this lady, she's saying that, oh, you know, the floor was always wet, no one wiped it. There's a lot of, you know, clothes that we have to wear, it's very hot and it's very uncomfortable. So the researcher asked, well, would you have any concerns about safety at the job? And Maggie said, yes, I did a lot. And I think this is the point here, the last sort of speech bubble, right? Which is, I really couldn't do much because I don't think I could tell anyone what to do because of the position I was in. But I don't think I could have gone to the manager and say, hey, this needs to be improved. Maybe I would have got fired or anything or something. So really, going back to this idea that safety voice is a risky behavior and you really need staff who feel empowered in order for them to actually speak up. So this is also what I'm saying research. So they seem to find that when do people speak up? When it's very serious, right? So if you see very high up in there, but they tend to speak up more over time, right? So again, this idea that newcomers don't really talk. It's only over time, and it's very risky. I think the sad scenario is at the top right corner, when workers they either leave or they just ignore safety. You know, they take it as a matter of life, and that's really the quadrant or the corner that we want to avoid. Now, at this stage, I should put in a caveat. This is my second last slide. That a lot of this research is done in the West. It's quite new, and also very healthcare centric. So a lot of hospitals, a lot of nurses. Okay, so I think we do have to sort of, you know, let's not take this wholesale. And very important, we need very contextual research. Right, what's happening in your organization is more important. Okay, but with those caveats in mind, I thought we have a quick audit exercise. And this is the last slide, right? So I think if you want people to speak up, you really need three things, among others, okay? The first is to increase the effectiveness of speaking up, right? And then the second and third is about costs and benefits, right? How do we reduce the cost of speaking up, and how do we increase the benefits of speaking up? So if you look through this, you can actually do a very quick audit exercise in your head, right? You know, what is the past history of speaking up? Have they experienced retaliation? Have they experienced cold shoulder? You know, bosses just ignoring it. But what is the past history? And if you know that there's a past history that's a negative one, I think we need to do something about that first, right? But you know, before we all jump out and say, okay, let's push for safety voice, very importantly, we need to have a sense of, are your policies and processes ready? Right? If you are successful, you're going to expect more people to report. So are you ready for that? You know, are you ready to run investigations? Are you ready to put out punishments, rewards, and all that? Are you ready? So I think we need to really, before we go knocking on doors and say, hey, everybody let's speak up, you have to be prepared. So are your processes and policies ready? Reducing the cost of speaking up, I think we talk about no retaliation, anonymity, so confidentiality. Making it easy to speak up as well, right? So I think some of the messages earlier is, you know, if we put a static poster, no one sees it anymore. So how do we make all these messages, and how do we make it easy for people to speak up? Okay, so I think those are some things to think about. The last one over there, increased benefit of speaking up, you know, internal benefit, right? So, you know, how do we appeal to our workers? How do we sort of inculcate that sense that, okay, well, speaking up is the right thing to do? It could be training, it could be in your recruitment, it could be tying it to your KPIs. And that relates to the external benefit in terms of rewards and recognition. So I hope this is a nice starting point for you to think about safety voice, at least from an academic point of view. Thanks very much.
I do apologize to Victor because I didn't introduce him before I asked him to talk. He is the acting director from the Center of Excellence for Behavioral Insight at Work. Singapore University of Social Sciences. So you can see that from things I shared, it's academic, but I think it's a lot of practical application to it. Okay, now we come to the most important part of this session, which is the Q&A. For those of you who have not posed a question, you can see on the screen the QR code for the pigeonhole. Scan it and post your question, and if you want to direct it specifically to any of the speakers, put his name in there so that I can arrow him to do the answer. Okay, there are some questions that come in. Perhaps there's one vote which is for Bruno. Can you share examples of successful implementation of Vision Zero principles in the workplace where open? I'm not sure.
Yep. 1, 2, 1, 2. Yep, working. Sorry, let me read as well. Open communication, sensitivities. Yeah, I think I covered some example, but if you want some more specific example, it's really the implementation. It's gradual. It's not really instant, as I say. You will not stop everything overnight. So I think we had, as I mentioned perhaps before, but in kitchen we had the shoe regime was really average. Unfortunately, I'm not embarrassed to say. It should have been better. We have a team of 60, 50 chefs, whatever, and for that hotel. But it was not really enough implementation of the safety risk of the shoe regime. So we went and basically checked all the shoes, the lockers, what they do, where they are located, and as well the flooring of the kitchen. And we learned obviously some of the epoxy, as you know, the flooring of the Sun kitchen these days are amazing. If you go to Marina Bay Sands, I'm sure it's the top one in the world. We are very, very, you can eat on the floor in the kitchen in Marina Bay Sands or other hotels as well. But in some hotels, in instance, it's broken tiles and all this. So we realized that implementation was not just on the shoes, but it was obviously from the flooring. We caused that. So it could be some other thing, was the grouting, was it porous or damage, whatever. So what we did, and we just reopening some of our new kitchen recently. We totally not demolished, but we're renovating the whole food and beverage in Crown Plaza in Cheong, and opening a new restaurant, new bar, and all this, and a back of house, and a brand new kitchen. And we're putting everything like the top of the range, if I can say, for the flooring, to make sure that if you have oil, hot water, cold water, whatever, or butter on the floor, which happens, it's really this type of flooring is really, safe. And we tested it. It's tested as well, like in the gym. If you're in the gym as well. Recently, we're opening a new gym, so we review as well the floor for the guests, not for the staff. Staff has their own gym, but the guests going to the gym, same thing as well. Because if you put a big heavy weight or barbell, whatever it is, 15, 20 kilos, and if you bounce, you can go back on your feet. And in the gym, usually people have trainers or small shoes, and there's a lot of incidents in gyms. I don't know if you heard, but so same thing. We put as well special flooring to absorb the shock, and it's about 3 levels. It's called Pervasive, and it's a very, very good equipment to have now, and obviously absorb the noise as well. So it helps the whole thing, because you don't hear in the lobby the weights in the gym, like some hotels you have. So yeah, implementation is really to go and see the cause, and it's not just about the shoe, let's say if it's that, or the knife is a knife, too sharp, or it has to be sharp. But if you cut your fingers, well, it has to be something else. Is it negligence? Is it untied? Or I don't know exactly. I haven't been trained to put my fingers in a special way when you cut onions or stuff like that. And we realize we haven't done the right training just by cutting onions. People just cut themselves. So yeah, it's a lot of things like going back into the roots and the cause.
That's right. I think training is very important. I think you have something to add.
No, I just want to add on, just for Bruno, is that in general, whatever that we do, I think the regular inspection with the fellow colleagues is important as well, because the inspection will bring them through about what have been done or identify what else can be done. in a more proactive way. And sometimes it's not about giving straight away the solution, but it's also to engage them, the committee, right? They're formed up by the rank and file and the supervisor, for them to come up with the solutions. When they do the work, give them the assignment, and let them come back to say, what are the solutions? Then allow them to go through the thinking process. I think that is also just a critical point, just to add on from Mohd.
Can I just very quickly? I love the idea that you don't give them the solution. Because I think we all know this, right? You know, when you give someone the solution, it's sometimes not taken very well. But if you create the environment for them to make the solution that you sort of were hoping, then I think it's much more effective. That's brilliant.
Yeah, I think getting them involved in the process of finding the solution and all that, I think there will be more buy-in, and it stays in the mind, I guess. So that's good. Okay, let's go to the next question. This one is for Mr. Cheong, I hope. What role should leadership and management play in championing a culture of safety and promoting ongoing safety training and education?
As I mentioned before, one of the key from the leadership role is, first of all, get all your leaders to recognize that it is a core value. Because when you are recognized as a core value, they will start paying attention. And unfortunately, once you put in as a KPI, they will be wholeheartedly to say, let's make it work. But more important thing for me is to build a culture of engagement. As we mentioned, that culture of engagement, it allows everybody to learn from each other. Because from the leaders itself, once you establish that the commitment, the walk and talks, and you are engaged together with the walk in the inspections, and that will help to solve a lot of issues. As once again, as I said, leaders doesn't mean that you give everything in a solution. You help them to identify. You help them to identify the root cause, rather than the surface root cause, but the real authentic root cause. Once you identify that, you will engage them to break down into groups to say, what do you think about it? Have you seen this? Example, I give example. Let's say we have a lot of drainage not covered, correct? It can be for the guests, it can be for the team, but you allow them to actually put in the assignment. They come back, we brainstorm together, and they suggest for some of the thingy and solutions, and you find that that's great. You are building the ownership from them. Once they start having this ownership, you'll find that they will be very open up to speak, and they will be very open up and feel comfortable to speak. And from a leadership point of view is you need to listen, rather than to cut off what they want to say. And that's one of the criteria that Victor had mentioned, that how can we create an environment, allow people to speak. And in order to do that, then you will transfer them into as owners of the matters. Ultimately, the culture is built that everyone is take up the ownership in the organization, and they will be then responsible for their own self as well. So hope that answers the questions.
Okay, so getting the management to invite the employees to speak up and to participate in the message is very important. There's this interesting question for Victor. Is it necessary to incentivize employees to speak up for safety? That means you need to have a dollar thing to attract or to encourage people to speak up. And what kind of incentives would put? More money? More bonuses?
It's a dangerous question to answer because, you know, I think there are many bosses here. But I think, first of all, incentives need not be cash. I think that's very important, right? So I think that's the first thing to recognize. The other is that I think when we give someone an incentive, sometimes we run the risk of taking away the reason why they're doing it. Right? So if someone is wanting to do, make sure that the drains are protected, they're covered, because they think it's the right thing to do, and then they actually get rewarded for that might run the risk of over-justification. Right? So they start thinking that, oh, I'm doing this because I get rewarded. And so if there's no rewards in future, there may be a risk. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying that we have to be quite careful. That's one. And then I think the other thing is, it's not always about cash, right? It's simply compliments, right? Recognizing that, I see that you've done that, and I think that's great. I recognize that you are a citizen of the organization, and I think that actually for many people, it's more rewarding than giving me a, I don't know, a $50 cash voucher. Yeah.
So actually, it's a difference between incentive and to reward. So it's different. Reward means you recognize that, you reward them for the best practices, the person that will come out. Incentive is before they do anything, you want to throw in incentive to attract them. So I think I agree. I think reward is necessary when people do the right thing. But doesn't mean that we also punish people who are not doing the wrong thing, but as long as it's not compromised with integrity.
Yeah, I think that's right. If you incentivize too much, you may have some smart employee who create a near-miss situation, take a photo and then get incentivized. But I think that there's a balance that you have to manage to make sure that employees are engaged and want to report and speak up on unsafe condition of practices because they feel that it is their responsibility and they have to do it to make it safe for both themselves and their co-workers. I think that's very important. So, what can supervisors and middle management do to encourage people to speak more? Another question for Victor. I think, since you're the doctor here, get them to give free advice first.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much. I think Haifu actually raised many really excellent points. I think in addition to many of those excellent points, I think showing care is a strange idea, right? But so some of the safety projects that I work on, I think there's this concept that, oh, if I show care, then they might think that maybe I'm a bit soft, and then they might step over my head. But I don't think the research suggests that. I think that showing care, like genuinely concerned, I am concerned about your well-being. I know you by your name. I understand that you have a child. I understand what your aspirations are, and you've been on for how long, and that care actually is a very powerful. I don't want to make this into like a care bear moment, right? But really, there is clear evidence that if you want safety voice, a big part of that is also being the employee knowing that, okay, my boss, my company actually cares for me. I think that's something that we can all practice a bit more.
I think if I can add that as well, it's important to have as well confronting videos or photos to show the staff that we care about their life. And if you show someone, I think I mentioned to some of our panel this morning, if you, like I used to show some videos, fire or other things, a chef cutting his finger, of course you don't show the whole situation, but a trainee or a student who wants to be a chef in a career, you show a few things like that. It doesn't traumatize him or her, but it's just to help to ascertain and really understand the risk, because you have a knife in your hand, it's like a weapon. So you have to be very careful. Same with a room attendant. A vacuum cleaner is not a weapon, but it can get really damaged. And we have seen or stories. But I think showing the videos, and we do that in some of our hotels with, unfortunately, some real events. And that's really helping the team to say, well, the management really care about me because they show me that, and they want to show the critical, the really seriousness of that thing. And I think we've done it in a few hotels, and I know it really helped people to really, oh my gosh, this can happen. I say, yeah, you're not bulletproof again, as I said before. It has to, and I went through a lot of, as I say, risky or remote countries or resorts in a jungle where you can have an orangutan. Had once, and I came into a kitchen, orangutan in Borneo, and it was quite a big surprise. What do? You have an orangutan coming into your kitchen, and the guys have a knife. No, you don't do anything. It's protected. They're reserved, but it's things like that, and it happens. And the orangutan, unfortunately, had a fight with the chef. But the chef is okay, he's still a chef. But it's small thing. This is a really extreme example, but you have to be prepared and show that you care on any type of situations. I think that's really important.
I think that's important, showing that you care for your employees. Okay, there's a question about how can we convince management to have buy-in for Vision Zero in workplace. Maybe I ask Haipo this question because he's the president of our International F&B Association. So how is he going to encourage all other members to join this Vision Zero movement?
We have Shah, we have Don, our chair lady here. These are all the very powerful bodies here to convince. No, but down to earth, honestly, to convince, I think in the first place, whether it's safety or directors or managers, you yourself need to be able to convince yourself that why you want to do that. And I think it's going to be a journey. Success is a tedious and exciting journey, right? So it's not going to be an overnight thing. But as currently, it's the right place, right time. In Chinese, we call 天时地利人和, correct? And with this current condition and situation, I think it's the right time to get a buy-in, correct? Because why? The emphasis comes from all the different various bodies to say, this is something that we need to work on. This is something that will create a safety environment for Singapore and create awareness. And if this is the right time, then it's the right time that we will put across that presentation to say why we should move towards the Vision Zero in workplace. And it's hard thing, as I mentioned, people don't realize it. A small accident can create and take away your life. And this is what we need to highlight back to the team, the caring team. The supervisor, middle management need to be convinced, rather than just on KPI on, I need to get the job done in 5 minutes, and you just need to run and chop from you faster. No. Because all this will come with a condition that to the right place, right time, with the right planning. So I think, I personally feel that keep going, don't give up. I'm sure the management will be convinced that why zero accident, because all the stakeholders globally, including in Singapore, I'm sure they are very caring for the team members, and nobody wants to get anyone to get hurt. And that is the most fundamental. And that already shows that our stakeholders are caring stakeholders. So if our stakeholders is caring stakeholders, they literally as a profession, and on your end, and on our end, on my side, and Bruno's, and Victor, I think it's our responsibility to put this across and convince our stakeholders. And that will convince them. And I'm very, very sure, because they are caring enough. Hope that answers your question, Mr. Thank you.
Thank you. Bruno, about you, any pointer or any...
I think we covered a lot of things. It's lunchtime as well, I'm sure some people are hungry. Just breaking the ice. No, I think I was just thinking, we spoke a lot today on work safety, but there's not too much on well-being as well. I know in our group, IAG, we have 12, 14 hotels in Singapore, obviously around Southeast Asia. The well-being has been a massive part as well, because well-being, what it is, it's as well, just physically, mentally to be obviously okay, as they say in Australia, are you okay? But it's important as well to see that, because if the staff is not okay at work, and we employ sometimes, staff who are overworked, overtired. I had a case recently, not in Cheong, but another hotel, where the staff sleep 2 hours a night, or 1 hour a night. He has mental problem. Can we help? That person is in a department which is very risky as well. He could make mistakes. So we had to go and help and search outside help. This is the same thing, because he could have done, it's not a chef, it's in the IT department, but it could be, with a server or whatever, he make a mistake or he's a bit snoozy, but he was a person who was very, very tired all day and all this, and we went up the ladder, talked to his wife and all this, the family, and we helped. We put him on a program. He was it was amazing to accept and not being embarrassed about that. We said to him, this is for your benefit, otherwise you might lose your job. You cannot come. So the well-being is very important, and we helped that gentleman, and still with us today. Very happy, because we had a few symptoms, or I don't know, you call them behaviors, but a few symptoms or signs where we felt there's something wrong there. And as a GM of hotels, we are people, we have gut feeling. When we see someone walking, body language a bit strange, straight away we ask the HR, is Jessica okay today? And the HR said to you, what do you mean? She's fine. and the day after she resigned. Stuff like that. Or has a problem at home or whatever. So I think we have to really observe and really, some people are good at it. Some people can learn at it and develop. But it's very important on the well-being to still stay focused. Because the well-being will bring obviously less incidents. I will be less tired, I will be less clumsy, be more less complacent. So important to stay focused. Our job is possibly easier as a GM, as people say, but we have to look after a generality of things, not being specific or amazing in engineering or finance or HR. You have to be a general everywhere, but you have to have the right, as you mentioned before, the right middle management that you trust and you have really a lot of confidence that they are putting. I think a few questions on that today. You have to make sure that its implementation is happening. Because when the staff are not here, not looking, or you're not looking at night, for example, we have less team at night in hotels. What's happening? Security during the patrol? Yeah, sure. But can they see everything? Cannot. And we have a few incidents in hotels, a night manager, where you have in a logbook in the morning when you arrive, you see some incident the night before, and you're like, oh my gosh, how can I avoid this? So we go back and see, is it staff related, is it equipment, communication, or radios, whatever, we can avoid that. So yeah, the well-being again comes a lot to that. Because we have a lot of people, I think Singapore, again, it's an amazing country here. You have a lot of support and help. But some other countries don't have as much help as Singapore, so it's very difficult, and they really suffer on that.
Yeah, I guess the COVID-19 that brought in well-being as a very important issue at the workplace, and there's a lot of focus now on well-being of employees. Maybe we are quite tight on time now. One last question, probably I pose it to Victor. Here it says, incident occur because of poor behavior and attitude in the workplace. How can we instill or share behavior as a topic for our staff? In fact, I was talking to Victor earlier about behavior and all that, and is it the right thing to focus on for behavior and not more than that? Victor, what do you say?
I think Hypo and Bruno probably has very good insights here as well. So maybe I'll just comment very quickly, and I suspect they might have good insights as well. I think that, and maybe this doesn't answer the question directly. Often when we think about behavior, there is a risk that we end up blaming the worker. And I think that it's important to understand that some of these incidents is a combination of different factors. So it could be systemic, it could be structural, it could be work scheduling, so there are various factors. So I think that also very important, while we keep these things in mind, also think about the whole system when we think about safety.
Yeah. I think system is not about just unsafe behavior or the person, but it's all part of the system, the process, the management system and all that. So why I ask this as a last question, because I think it's important to understand that it's not just focusing on the person, it's the entire organization, the system and all that. All this need to be put in place so that the person can work safely in a safe environment. So with that, I think the timekeeper is telling me I've already exceeded the time. I'm keeping you all from lunch. No lunch is provided, right, organizer? Okay, thank you very much for all your questions. I'm sorry we can't answer all, but we are trying to find answers by looking through later when we go through again. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for tuning in.
Thank you, Mr. Chan and students, for your sharing experiences and insights. Please remain on.